me. It happens to be 11/12/12/2020 as I do this. There are a great deal of people experiencing something similar to spiritual warfare. And it's this kind of tension which rises into a person and causes discontent. Now, I was looking at this white horse prophecy and these apocalyptic, prophetic revelations that were picked up in the ether by prophets in the past. And what I would like to say is that there was a prophet in the past, or people believed he was a prophet, that said that the Constitution of the United States of America would one day hang on by a thread. And they call this the white horse prophecy. Here, let me scooch this out for you. I guess it's not working. Okay, so there's some controversy around this. This particular guy talks about it a lot. I looked it up after hearing him. And, of course, people have said things that are like really wild. So why am I bringing this white horse prophecy up? I'm bringing it up because there's a little bit of controversy in the United States about how things are unfolding. And they look for signs, they look for symbols. And this is, to make sense out of what's going on. Sometimes they have visceral reactions and they try to blame somebody or something like that. So anyway, this Last President book, I've got a playlist in here if you want to watch it. It predicts the future, and it was written in the 1800s by an attorney in New York, attorney Ingersoll Lockwood. It's not really a very long book, and then he has a series called the Baron Trump series, which I started reading and putting in. So why am I bringing up this stuff in the past? Because we have a foundation, and we have keys to prosperity, keys to riches, keys to the kingdom, and thy kingdom will come on earth as it is in heaven. So what do I mean by that? Well, what I'm trying to say is that the adversary comes to kill, steal, and destroy, right? The adversary, the opposition. But what is the real opposition? That's what I want you to ponder for a second, and I'm going to try to find another graphic. What happened here? Okay, so I had this video. I had this. What I did is, I'll tell you what I did. Hang on, I'm having a problem. It's really weird. The past couple of days, I had this beautiful thing here, and I accidentally hit some button or something, and it messed up. But I wanted to talk a minute about different cultures and the United States of America and what's going on with the pandemic. and what's going on with the presidential election. But I wanted to keep it kind of brief because my basement flooded last night and I woke up at 2 in the morning with an asthma attack, and then I had to get out my shop vac. And for 2 hours, I was sucking up water and pulling out stuff, and it's still flooding. So, anyway, I gotta make it short. So, I want to talk for a second about a confluence of events and an independent intervening cause. Now, if you're new to my channel, welcome, thank you so much. Now, what I do here is basically interdisciplinary studies and talk about various ways of governing, managing, and doing being, and try to optimize humans and just maximize our humanity's progress. So I'm here as a peaceful force for good, and the reason I wanted to bring up the Hong Kong protests is we are living in unprecedented times that are of extraordinary times. And I have, I don't know what the deal is with this. Okay, so, by the way, I'm not Buddhist or Hindu, or I think this is Buddhist that the Dalai Lama is. But I do believe that there is truth and that there's different cultures that perceive things a little bit differently. And also they have a variety of different orientations and ways of doing and being. For example, I've taken several classes in cultural ethnicity, and I've taken at the PhD level classes in psychology of different cultures and sociology, and also undergraduate communication between the cultures, etc., etc. I've also got a lot of Chinese friends that are from China. So I've got other Asian friends from other places that do not want to be compared, like people from Korea and Japan, but or maybe even Hawaii or whatever. But anyway, so what happens with the Eastern cultures is the Eastern cultures are collectivist. And if you look at the scriptures, they tell you to be like a bee or like a ant. And ants and bees, if you observe the insects in scriptures, they work together as a unified culture. Now, the ancient arts that are taught in some of the Eastern cultures and philosophies, like Confucianism, Taoism, Buddhism, Hinduism, they have also martial arts, and they have a book called The Art of War by Sun Tzu or something like that. And what they have done is they have found a way, and they call the way Taoism. Taoism means the way. Now, Jesus in the Christian scriptures says that I am the truth, the way, and the light. And yet, as far as light goes, they also say that Lucifer is the bearer of light. So get that one. So a lot of these scriptures, a lot of these cultures seem foreign to some people. And to others, they embrace it and they love it. They just say, oh yeah, that sounds right. Let me get a tattoo with yin and yang. So there's a lot of revolutionary things going on where there is this individualism and this cultural phenomenon of what's going on today. And I have said this sort of prophetically, perhaps, or observationally, looking at various philosophies, trends and whatnot. And I've said, okay, here's what we've got in Hong Kong. This is what happened, I would say, about the time the coronavirus appeared in mainland China. It might have been in Hong Kong too. You have a communist government that's authoritarian, run by a leader who had his entire family assassinated when he was a child because they opposed communism. And I'm talking about the leader of the Communist Party, Xi. Here. If you don't know, you can look it up. If you do know, you'll know. This guy had a really rough childhood. His parents were intellectuals. Now, why am I bringing up Xi and Hong Kong? Because I want you to get outside of the election for a second. And I want you to think of spiritual things. I want you to think of other cultures. I want you to think of comparing your picture with another picture. Okay? Now, the reason I want to do this, and by the way, you could be someone who speaks English and be in Hong Kong or something, but Hong Kong's going through a really rough time. Now, President Xi went through a severe trauma. It's like PTSD. Everybody's got this polyvagal nerve in them that's like the tree of life, right? Okay. Now I know this is kind of like, well, how's this all related? Well, the reason I'm bringing this up is that I'm trying to elucidate or explore you as a human being and also you as a person in a collective. Now, many of my viewers are from different states, different orientations, if you will. They might be from Eastern culture, they might be from Western culture, they might be longtime Americans, they might be from the North, the South, the East, the West, four corners of the earth, whatever. So what I'm trying to get to you is this idea about feelings and imprints on your soul. And what happens to people as they're developing their character while they're growing up. And how sometimes these people go on to become leaders. Maybe they'll be leaders that are your enemy, right? Let me get back over here. And there's a type of martial art in the art of war, and not the art of war, but in the martial arts, where you take your opponent and you use their own energy that they're using against you, against them. It's an art. It's very subtle. There's these subtle energies going on, but there's things that are unseen to the naked eye that are going on right now. And what I want to do is I want to warn you to prepare for the day and the hour. And I want you to try to focus on love energy, on good vibrations, on loving the lost sheep, loving the prodigal son that went away and came back, following the way, Taoism. So there's value to a lot of these scriptures, and the keys to the kingdom are, you can have the keys to the kingdom. the keys to success. There's a lock and there's a key. Why am I bringing all this up? Like I said, my basement flooded today. It's still raining. Yesterday, I had a pipe burst over my circuit breaker box in my house, and it was sizzling. I was hearing like a drip and a sizzling when I went to my dryer. At night, I've been having asthma attacks, waking up where I can't even breathe. And here I am, calm, back in business, talking about other more important things than me. But bringing up that you can have catastrophes coming up every day in your life. And what is that? Is that the adversary? What is that? Is that opposition? Is that some kind of unseen force? What is it? Is it negative energy? Is it a time and a season for everything? What kind of life are you going to cultivate? Here's John 10:10. Okay, guys, I hate to say this, but I am really running out of time. I really appreciate you giving me your time. I was going to talk about the election, and I was going to talk about how the coronavirus appeared in Hong Kong. In Wuhan, China, and how serious that is, and how I've done other videos on different things, like a tower moment coming up, and I want you to try to stay centered. And I want us to act as a collective in the United States, to love our brothers and sisters that may have a difference of opinion, that may be listening to, say, the general AP News and trusting, when in fact the thief does not come except to steal and to kill and to destroy. And I have come that they may have life and that they may have it more abundantly. So let's focus on cultivating a culture of love, a culture of life, a culture of stewardship, a culture of the United States of America, which is multiculturalism, tolerance, loving one another, following the scriptures or not, respecting someone's dignity, where they take them where they are, love one another. So I'm just going to say to you, thank you so much. I will continue this conversation a little bit later, but I want you to appreciate that each of us is different. We all have different opinions, and that we want to conduct ourselves in a way that would make our founders proud of our class act, where we are maintaining decorum, speaking calmly and effectively, and engaging in a way that's going to move humanity forward into a place where we can cultivate kindness and the 7 virtues, and also be prepared. Have a storehouse. Be prepared for an emergency. Now I have a shop vac. I purchased a shop vac because my basement floods a lot. It's not in a flood zone. It just does a couple of times a year. And, sometimes things come up that are expensive, like plumbing bills that are unexpected, but I've got a little bit of food storage. Sometimes a hurricane comes. I've been in a hurricane, or an earthquake. I've been in an earthquake. I haven't been in a near a volcanic eruption. But what I'm trying to say is that SHIT happens, and sometimes the SHIT hits the fan. And I want you to get ready for December, because things are going to get a little worse before they get better. And it might not have to do with just the election. It might have to do with the fact that we've got a pandemic on our hands. And I know a lot of people don't believe that the pandemic is serious, but I have studied immunology. I've studied a little bit of virology or microbiology. I'm not a virologist, but I just want people to be prepared, and I want to cultivate a culture of life, love, prayer, community. And I want to thank you for stopping by. And I feel like I just opened up a couple of these, and like I said, I got up, I couldn't breathe, and then discovered my basement had a 1/4 inch of water all over it. And then I had to clean up a huge mess, which is still leaking a little. Okay, so that's it. Thank you so much for stopping by. Keep your chin up. This too shall pass. The darkest hour is always before the dawn. There is an equal opportunity of learning and growing from situations where people are acting unreasonable and people are being inappropriate. And I've said my opinion about AP being inappropriate. They have said that they've called elections for the past 100 and some odd years. But the thing about it is, this was an extraordinary circumstance. We had an independent intervening event that came up, which was a pandemic. Trump, prior to the election, said, let's just postpone the elections to a time when people can come in and they can vote safely. And instead, the Democrats are fighting him tooth and nail on every single thing he says, as if they're using this attribution and it's us against them. And it's not. A house divided upon itself will fall. Americans need to focus on what we have in common and how we can maximize our culture and be an example for the rest of the world, an exemplary country, loving one another. And if we have a difference of opinion, go about things with decorum, use the process, use the system that the forefathers set up, and do it in a manner that is not disrespectful and dishonoring the dignity of another person. So what we have is we can leave a paper trail, and we can do things that can move humanity forward into a place that we can all learn and grow from. So I think they need to change the law for AP calling an election if it is disputed on its face. If you have a prima facie case of a dispute by a sitting president, because if you have a main news authority where everybody else is feeding in it to try to get a consensus, and then you have this division and disrespect before the verdict is out, then you're not following due process of law. And if you look at what the framers had, they had due process of law in there. And if you're going to stoop to a childish way, then it's like you're regressing. And we don't want to regress. We don't want to digress. And so, yeah, I want to thank you for listening, and I just want to say that um, a scripture came to my mind, and I wanted to find the way that we can learn and grow from this. You know, they say that you can learn something from your enemy, and you can learn something from adversity. It's not a mistake, it's a learning experience. With every seed of adversity, there's an equal and opposite seed of opportunity. So I want you to take this time. We can learn and grow from this. The founders, the AP News, these agencies never ever anticipated a president not conceding what they called. So now we find gaps in the law. So we can just fill in those gaps with um, some, and we can refine things. The refiner's fire. Okay. So, you know, while I was down there shop vacuuming my basement, I was thinking I needed to dust behind the washer machine and get all the water out. As I was getting the water out and sucking everything up, the floor looked cleaner. I sprinkled a little bit of Dr. Bronner's peppermint soap in with it, swooshed it around. The air had a nice minty fragrance as I was doing it, and it wasn't such a harsh chemical that it caused me another asthma attack. But as I said, you're going to have adversity. You're going to have people that disagree with you. And we can get through this, okay? We can get through this. And I want to help you get the keys to the kingdom of happiness, joy, pleasure, and everything else. Let's just get together and love one another. Amen. Hallelujah. Okay, guys, I got to get running. I've gone on way too long. Take care. Thank you. Have a nice rest of your day. Bye.